Pete Rose said he was coming clean.
Did you bet on baseball?
Yes, I did, and that was my mistake, not coming clean a lot earlier.
After nearly 15 years of denials, Rose admitted in a 2004 book and an interview with ABC's Charles Gibson that yes, he had bet on baseball while he managed the Cincinnati Reds.
You're now saying, for the first time, publicly, yes, I bet on baseball.
I bet on baseball in 1987 and 1988.
But that is as far as Rose has ever gone. Major League Baseball's 1989 investigation into Rose's gambling, led by former federal prosecutor John Dowd, concluded that Rose also bet on baseball before 1987, while he was still playing. Rose has always denied it, including just 2 months ago when he spoke with ESPN New York radio host Michael Kay.
You got suspended for gambling on the game as a manager, and I never understood why that kept you out of the Hall of Fame as a player. But then the Dowd report said that you actually gambled as a player on baseball as well. What's the truth? I mean, did you ever gamble when you were a player?
Never gambled when I was a player. That's a fact.
But Outside the Lines has obtained previously undisclosed evidence that Rose bet extensively on baseball and on the Reds in 1986, while he was the Reds player-manager. It is the first written record of Rose's betting activity before he hung up his spikes. The evidence is these pages, copied from a notebook seized by the U.S. Postal Inspection Service in October 1989. A raid on the home of former Rose associate Michael Bertolini uncovered these records of bets Bertolini allegedly placed on Rose's behalf with mob-connected bookmakers from March through July of 1986.
We didn't have the records of Michael Bertolini. He refused to give them to us, so we never had Bertolini's betting records.
We were able to get a hold of a copy of that Bertolini notebook. We showed the pages we obtained to John Dowd, who conducted baseball's investigation into Rose.
I recognize Bertolini's handwriting from other documents. It fits with the timeline that we had that he was betting. This is the final piece of the puzzle. I mean, this is it, this does it, this closes the door. And, of course, betting while he was a player.
During his investigation, Dowd was unable to find written records to support testimony that Rose had bet on baseball while he was playing or that Bertolini had placed bets for him. The notebook does both.
It supports the work that we did 26 years ago, and so that obviously feels good.
The raid that captured Bertolini's notebook was part of a mail fraud investigation and was unrelated to gambling. The notebook itself has been under seal for 26 years and is stored in the National Archives. Outside the Lines tracked down 2 of the investigators who conducted the raid and asked them to review the pages we obtained. Retired agents Craig Barney and Mary Flynn said the documents are indeed copies from the notebook they seized in 1989. Flynn said Bertolini acknowledged the book was his and that it detailed bets he placed for himself and for Rose. In the notebook pages, there is no evidence of Rose betting against the Reds. Each entry shows a list of illegal bets from Rose and Bertolini, along with the results and their tally at the end of every day. It shows that from April 9th through July 9th, 1986, Rose is recorded as having bet on at least one baseball game on 30 different days. 21 of those days, he also bet on the Reds, always to win, including games in which he played.
So what we used to do is...
Dowd says in 1989, when then-Commissioner Bart Giamatti banned Rose for life based on the Dowd report, MLB was alarmed that Rose owed hundreds of thousands of dollars to mob-connected bookies Bertolini knew in New York.
The boys in New York are about breaking arms and knees. The implications for baseball are terrible. They had a mortgage on Pete while he was a player and manager.
The Bertolini notebook gives a snapshot of Rose's betting life in 1986. Most bets were about $2,000. During March, when he was betting heavily on college basketball, Rose lost $25,500 in 1 week. The most he ever lost in one day was $15,400. The newly uncovered evidence that Rose bet on baseball as a player, and the fact he's still denying it a quarter century later, come as Commissioner Rob Manfred's office considers Rose's latest request for reinstatement. If he's reinstated, he can be considered for the Hall of Fame. But MLB sources, speaking on the condition of anonymity, say they would be shocked if Manfred reinstates him. And even if he is reinstated, his name would go before a Hall of Fame committee that may not have any Rose supporters, let alone enough to elect him to Cooperstown.